Okay, and do you want me to answer as a lawyer or do you want me to answer as a comedian or do you want both?
Both. How do you see the future of comedy in India?
I think the future of comedy in India is good, where people will appreciate intellectual, smart comedy, and
Yes,
that
yes,
will
yes.
become mainstream comedy. All these Kapil Sharma show and all of these things will hopefully shut off. Because what do they do there? They also body shame. They also make fun of fat people. You're a woman, haha. You do this stereotyping of any Bihari or any other person. That's what you do. Is that comedy? Who? And that's a family friendly show. No, it's not. If your family was educated, they would hate that show. So if you think about it, people say that joke hi to hai to kya ho gaya, big deal. Nahi, it does not work like that. It has consequences for people in real life. It has become such a household joke for a lot of young boys that every Russian woman 6,000, 6,000, 6,000 bol do. So because that signifies that every Russian woman is a prostitute. Then I got this gig where I performed. So it was the first time any sitting Supreme Court judge listening to stand up comedy. That I know of. पता नहीं अब घर पे जो देखते होंगे समय रैना को तो मुझे नहीं पता. I mean, if I get really, really big, then I would get cancelled. So I would need to come back to law. The biggest argument the people have is now, अगर तेरे को नहीं पसंद तो तू मत देख. Dark comedy can be anything. I can say the word boobs right now, that will be dark comedy. But at the same time, if I layer the joke, that will be layered dark comedy.
This is hilarious. Why are we really debating regulations?
Before I say anything, I think I should wear a tin-foil hat because what I'm gonna say might sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's not. I'll tell you when I'm in jail for
Great.
contempt soon. Comical way के तो पैसे लगते हैं मैम. But
So, my first question before delving into whatever we are discussing today, how do you balance these two extremely, polar apart subjects?
I think it's not that different actually. I think
Yeah.
the line you're talking about, it gets blurry all the time because I would assume that you're still in law school, but once you come to court, you'll realize it's nothing less than a laughter club or a comedy club. And I think both of the professions are really similar.
Mm-hmm.
In in one profession, you just speak and people laugh at you,
Okay.
and then eventually you go and do comedy.
Okay. Your outfit is something which is very special today. Which the time I entered your house, I looked at your outfit. How does law and comedy fit with your outfit?
Well, a lot of people call these the clown pants,
That is,
but they're
but these are
not.
the pants we see people wearing at the district court levels as
No,
well.
no, no.
Oh, they wear it?
Basically, these are the. So I've also come to this. Like this has been introduced to me recently. These are called bar at law pants. A lot of people make fun of me, but actually, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कहते हैं कि जो सिर्फ खानदानी वकील होते हैं ना वो पहनते हैं पैंट्स बिकॉज अर्लियर इन द 1930s that's when the term came. So lawyers were called bar at law.
Bar at
Bar at law.
law.
So these
Okay.
are called bar at law pants. So
Mhm.
even if you go inside courtroom number 2 in the Supreme Court, you'll see a photo of a lawyer. I forget, I don't know which one it is, but he's also wearing these pants. So my boss, who's a senior advocate in the Supreme Court, he told me about these pants, and he specifically asked me to get them made, custom made, and so, but now when I walk in court, people always are talking about the pants. I don't know for what reason. They're always pants, 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 pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they do look like a comedian's pants also. So I think it fits well with me.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
a nice explanation to that.
yeah.
So how does it feel that you have successfully combined these two spheres?
So before I answer this question, I would also like to say that this Friday I'm performing at the Constitution Club of India for a legal event. I think
Oh,
ex Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, he'll be the chief
I
guest
know, I
there.
know.
So again, I'll get that chance to do it again. So I'm excited for that also.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And at the same time, so I carved a niche out for myself because there was no comedy in law,
Yeah.
and I knew that like I know what to do in the sense in terms of law that okay this will be my profession, but what do I want to do? That's comedy.
Okay.
Again, why I started it was because there was no punching up, there was no voice of some criticism about the industry because there are a lot of issues in the
Yes,
industry, and
yes,
that's how I started. I just want to speak up about them, and in a funny way, in a way,
yes.
the only way I know. and then it became a part of it. People saw that it was very novel, people appreciated it. Then I got this gig where I performed. So it was the first time any sitting Supreme Court judge would be listening to stand-up comedy. That I know of. पता नहीं अब घर पे जो देखते होंगे समय रैना को तो मुझे नहीं पता. But in front of a live audience and the judges were there, and then it became a really successful event. And because what has helped me the most, it's about raising the issues and punching up, because people take the easiest targets, they make fun of them. It's very hard to take the hard, like punching up means that if you are aiming for a person in a stronger position instead of a person in a weaker position, which is very easy to do. Punching down is very easy. You can make fun of the scheduled caste, you can make fun of black people, minorities, you can make fun of Muslims. It's very easy. But to make fun of Hindu Brahmins, which I also am, people don't even know that, because my video which got viral, it was about I was making fun of casteism in India, and people just straight up assume that I'm a scheduled caste or from a scheduled tribe. They just assume, because who would make fun of, like, which sane Brahmin in their own mind would make fun of their own kind, apparently. But yeah, that's what punching up is all about, because I understand that I am in a position of power where if I make punching up jokes about feminism as an ally, people would tend to appreciate it more, instead of, because it's very easy for me to just say that all feminists suck, or casteism is good, whatever they say. So that has helped me a lot, and I want to continue doing that forever. That I should always be looking out for the little guy, which I am also, but also, like, that's the best I can do for the society.
That's a wonderful answer. If you get like really big in the comic sphere, are you like ready to leave the legal industry as well? Have you thought about it?
I mean, if I get really, really big, then I would get cancelled. So I would need to come back to law. I would need to come back to law anyway.
Before delving into the controversy of Ranveer Allabhadia, Samay Raina, and all these content creators on their platform, you have mastered the law as well and the comedy as well.
I wouldn't say that, but sure. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, but I think at least you know the process behind it. You have enough knowledge in terms of, because you have dealt with both the lines parallelly and in a progressive way, I'd rather say. What according to you comedy is?
So basically, in respect of this whole controversy which is happening, I have very mixed feelings. So it's something personal and professional.
Okay.
But basically, if the straight up question is that what is comedy to me?
Yeah.
Comedy to me is, comedy can be anything. Again, it depends. It's like beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So comedy lies in the ears of the joke hearer, whatever.
Yes.
See, but again, what I personally believe is that comedy should have a layer to it, because the lowest hanging fruits, punching down, easiest things to do, there should be some skill, something involved which maybe like makes you think, instead of ठीक है अब अलग अलग टाइप की कॉमेडी होती है, and which is okay. But personally for me, if it doesn't have some intellectual element to it, if it doesn't have some layer to it, if the joke is just coming for the of it or for the sake of it, then I would say that's again comedy, because whoever is watching, they would laugh. But that's not something I would like to listen to or even do. So yeah, now with everything that has happened, and what the problem with this whole scenario is, so let's just first talk about what was said, and why people are going so, people are really hurt and offended by it, because there's some, I believe, because there's some element of incest involved, which is a taboo, obviously. So people will outrage over that, because every day in the same show, a lot of other things have been said, all are saying things.
Yes.
But suddenly, if it comes to incest, then people like, no, this is where we also draw the line. And by who it was said, that's a really prominent YouTuber, so he has some hold and a lot of following. Now, what has also happened is that these shows, all these comedians, they are not aware of the law, right? They don't, because they see that there are American comedians who just say anything and nobody bats an eye, right? So they think that they can also do that.
Okay.
But now you have to know the intricacies of the law of the nation, the law of the land. That because in America, I think first or the Second Amendment, it gives absolute freedom of speech. There's absolute freedom of speech without any restrictions. So you can say anything. You can say anything, right? But in India, freedom of speech comes with reasonable
Label
restriction.
restrictions, yes.
And now people should. Now you live in India. I'm not saying that you should know it, but you should not just assume that America में तो ऐसा ही हो रहा है, तो हम भी यही कर सकते हैं. I know because of Western influence and all of these things, everybody is influenced by this, but you should also know at the same time that what could be acceptable in the country in terms of, because the biggest argument the people have is now अगर तेरे को नहीं पसंद तो तू मत देख. See, in the sense कि if you don't enjoy it, don't watch it, which I agree with. But at the same time, Instagram is also flooding you with the videos, a lot of these things. I personally I've made darker jokes, and I don't care for dark, in the sense I love dark comedy, but मैं तो कुछ भी कह सकता हूँ. But at the same time, I would know the consequences of it, where I'm saying it, why I'm saying it, what is it. So yeah, again, mixed feelings, where these people should have been a little more mindful. They start getting a little arrogant that they can say or do anything
They're
at
not
all.
scared of. And even
Yeah.
people coming on the show, they have made these, statements saying that the person who has been, questioned so much, he has brought a revolution in the, genre of dark
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
But then, see, I am someone, let's say I'm not even a law student for the time being. I'm a common man.
Yeah.
मेरे लिए मैं घर पे जा रही हूँ, मुझे कुछ भी कंटेंट दिख रहा है, मुझे इंटेलेक्ट से कुछ मतलब ही नहीं है, मुझे बस हंसना है, मुझे गालियां देखनी है, और आई डोंट नो व्हाट डज इट रिलीज, बट देन व्हाट इज डार्क कॉमेडी इन द फर्स्ट सेंस ओनली?
हाँ, मतलब I understand. Obviously, people don't want to put a lot of mind in something.
Yes.
They also, that's why people also watch Big Boss. That's why people also watch
Yes.
trash, TV
Yes.
trash, whatever. But dark comedy, again, dark comedy can be anything. I can say the word boobs right now, that will be dark comedy. But at the same time, if I layer the joke, that will be layered dark comedy. So it depends
Yes.
on the way you're
So
saying
for
it.
you, I think comedy comes with a layering as well.
Yes, and that's what in this socio-economic climate in this country right now, it must come with it, or else you'll get fucked like this. Because if you do not put a layer to it, for example, all the comedy that I have done, it's all parody and satire mostly.
Yeah.
So the people who would have been offended by it, they never got it. They never understood what it is. People still ask me, "Oh, you don't even know that there is no High Court of India." I'm like, yeah, sorry. I am sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so stupid.
That is actually the most trending reel of yours, I think.
Yeah, so I always say I'm standing in front of High Court of India or something, and people are like, haha, stupid. He doesn't even know that. But at the same time, I'm laughing at you because you don't understand. See, but if I just stand there and I start saying कि ये जज ऐसा है, ये वैसा है, गालियां देने लग जाऊं, कुछ बोलने लग जाऊं, तो वो गलत है ना, because there's contempt के अलावा भी नहीं है, ऐसे आप कुछ भी नहीं कह सकते खड़े होके. So you will, as a comedian, if you also need to save your own ass, you would need to put a layer to it. अब नहीं डाला तुमने layer, तो अब यही होगा ना, अब पूरे टाइम कुछ भी बोलते रहो. एक शो है, वहाँ पे lowest hanging fruits पे आप जोक मारो, सेक्सुअलाइज करो चीजों को, हर चीज को कर दो, कुछ भी whatever जो भी आपके मन में आ रहा है, you're just saying it, and ठीक है, I understand. Samay Raina is really funny. He's got good, impeccable. His timing is amazing. His jokes, there are also puns and like variety of things.
Yes.
But at the same time, he also says anything that he wants to.
Yeah.
And that's absolute freedom of speech, which unfortunately is not the case in this country. So
my next question, you said that we don't have the same laws as what US have. Article 19 of the Constitution talks about freedom of speech. It comes with reasonable restrictions. Just trying to be funny, but are the reasonable restrictions actually reasonable?
Now, to answer your question with the question, what is reasonable? Everything in law has to be defined. Now, even probably in law school, in any statute, you must be studying that a man of reasonable prudence.
Yes.
Now, what the fuck does that mean? Who knows? Who's a man of reasonable prudence? But there are some tests, some interpretations which have been
done.
Like the courts have come through that this is reasonable, this is not, and there are, so basically, even if you read this, I've got the new one. It's Bharatiya blah 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 whatever. Take it. Sorry, but many इसको बोल सकता. Indian Penal Code was way better.
Firstly, you being a lawyer, please put it out. What are the relevant sections? What are the relevant, sections under which people can be booked for such kind of obscenity and vulgar statements?
I think again the section I read 294 and 296.
Yes.
296 is obscene, making obscene acts or songs or saying things.
Okay.
Okay, 294 is sale of obscene material.
Yes.
Now, if it's a if this India's got latent is a subscription only thing. So if you're selling an obscene material, which can be the court will deem it to be obscene or not. That's up to the court.
Okay.
So these are the two sections here. Then there's section 67 of the IT Act.
Yes, yes, it
which
does.
talks about how like any form of electronic media online, which and then what is reasonable restriction or what obscene is, what qualifies as obscene. So that's again up to the interpretation of the court. I believe
I think
there are some
recently we have what the test that is the landmark. I think in
the
Avik
Hicklin
Sarkar's
the
case,
Hicklin test
yes,
was later
overruled by community
yeah
standards
community
test.
standard test, yeah.
So what is community standards? What is community? What is standard? And what is test?
Okay, no, I'm not going to define each word, but I'll tell you. So basically, the Hicklin test which
Yeah.
was used in the case of Lady Chatterjee lover
Yes.
book case. I think what is the name of this? Sudeshi something.
Yeah.
Whatever the name of the
The
case
book was.
So the book, it was deemed to be obscene, and the Hicklin test was used. The Hicklin test says that even if any part of the material, even if any part is obscene, then the whole thing is deemed to be obscene.
Okay.
See, so that's a really traditional approach which has its flaws. For example, if there are 15 chapters in the book and one of the chapters is obscene, so it doesn't mean that rest of the 14 chapters should also be struck off.
Yes.
Right? Now, at the same time, this community standard test which came in this week Sarkar case, there was basically a tennis player.
Yes.
He posed nude with his partner,
Yes.
and to raise
the racism campaign.
Raise some awareness about racism.
Yes.
Now, if the court had to apply the Hicklin test, that would mean that it would be obscene. But the court said that no, because it has some moral duty to it. There is some layer to it. So you have to see it as a whole. Like, what message is it sending? What message is it sending to the society? So that's why it was not deemed to be obscene.
But Manu, here the click is that it was a subscription-based platform.
Yeah.
Secondly, they are claiming that it is a scripted, material that they have used.
Okay, use this.
So it is not even something, but it is coming to you directly. The way he's
Yeah.
putting it out,
Yeah.
if we see, let's not comment because the matter is sub judice. But if you were at a situation to just sculpt it out, then how do you see the situation? Because what may be obscene for you may not be obscene for me.
So again, do you want me to answer as a lawyer, or do you want me to answer as a comedian, or do you want both?
Both.
So as a lawyer, I would say that your defense is even if it's subscription based, but again, a lot of reels are being cut out. Now, who is controlling that? We don't know. These reels, they come through your algorithm. I do not want to see it. It comes. Then they are, even if it's scripted, then again, it's very crass and very because that's not the only thing. All the rest of the reels, I've seen some episodes. I never liked it because like people just go there, use it as an excuse to just say whatever they wanted to say, which is okay, which is fine. Not my kind of comedy again. Now, as a comedian, I would say that people should be allowed to say whatever they want to say, and they just use an old joke, and I honestly personally did not find it that obscene, maybe because my mind has been on the internet since forever. But again, people who've not been on the internet and not lived that life, they would find it to be very, very, very shocking, which the Indian society is.
Yes. The message that we are talking about, we also have to look that it is also creating a degenerative culture. In terms of law, morality, and the message that it is sending, how do you bring these three elements together?
So if you think about it, people say that joke hi to hai, to kya ho gaya, big deal. Nahin, it does not work like that. It has consequences for people in real life. I'll give you a really, really good example of it. How one comedian has made a joke and it has become such a household joke for a lot of young boys that every Russian woman 6,000 6,000 bol do. So because that signifies that every Russian woman is a prostitute. That's the joke. See, now people keep on saying that. They go to people who are Russian, they harass them. One of my closest friends, she's from Russia. she's not able to visit India because अब रशियन लड़कियों को वहां से वो खुद ही उन्होंने वीजा देना कम कर दिया है क्योंकि they believe that they do not give visa to single Russian women to come to India. So I'm not saying that this because of this joke they've done that, but because of this joke, every person who meets a Russian, they the first thing they say is 6,000 6,000 ऐसा बहुत करते हैं. तो क्या सोसाइटी में उसका
जा रहा
इम्पैक्ट
है.
नहीं है? वो 100% जा रहा है. अगेन if if it would have been layered, if अब ये कोई इतना नहीं कोई कॉम्प्रिहेंड कर सकता कि क्या मेरे जोक का क्या होने वाला है क्या नहीं होगा, बट अगेन यू शुड कैरी सम सेंस ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी विद यू. And as a lawyer, I would say that as a comedian also, I feel that I have some sense of some sense of comedy, of course, but some sense of responsibility also, where my whatever I'm saying, it should not go out in the society and affect lives of other people.
Perfectly said. With this, okay, we have covered the degenerative culture or the message that it is sending. We come to regulations now. So there are a lot of people who have been saying, okay, so we all have heard the infamous Nitish Kumar,
Hmm.
a politician
Hmm.
from Bihar.
Yeah, yeah.
He उनकी एक रील ट्रेंड पे जा रही है. He is yapping about the pull-out method in parliament and connecting it
Yeah.
with females education कि अगर females
हाँ,
पढ़ लेंगी etc
I
etc
think
जो
I
भी
have.
वो था. This is hilarious. Why are we really debating regulations? On one thing, when women are paraded naked in the Manipur thing, the NHRC took 2 months to take cognizance of the same. And now the same NHRC, maybe because the impact is so much and the people who are being influenced by these influencers are वो उनकी तादाद बहुत ज़्यादा है. So in all these situations, how does regulation come into picture? Because one aspect also is कि they are planning to I think
OTT करना जैसे जो भी कंटेंट है
broadcast act आ
ब्रॉडकास्टिंग.
रहा है
या
and
या
they'll be उसको enumerate करेंगे. But why? Because of these few people who are उनकी वजह से मतलब I just want your view on this.
Before I say anything, I think I should wear a tin foil hat because what I'm gonna say might sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's not. Most of these things are very politically motivated all
Yes.
the time because people want now even the NHRC they want you to see that we are doing something right, and now it's the easiest thing for them to do this. Okay, the politicians, everybody who's like there are a lot of babas who are asking for the assassination of these people that you should kill them. So everybody has jumped on the easiest bandwagon where they're gonna bring in, and that's how the regulations might
Okay.
happen again because
Yes.
they will use it as an example and they'll be like, hey, because this happened, we're gonna do it. Even if you take the lady Chatterley's lover case, I think I said Chatterjee before.
Yeah.
Okay, if the Bengali edition of the book ever comes out, then
Yeah.
it should be called. But even if you take that case, there's an element where there's an element that people were actually mad about it because there's a higher caste class woman who
Okay.
falls in love with a working class man. So that was the problem. That's what depraved the morality of people. People could not like take that at that time. It was not. It was considered obscene. So similar things are happening here where people are going for the easiest target to show that we are moral. We in India, who is moral? You know what goes on in the system, in the parliament, as you're saying. A lot of things have been said, but these people will be made scapegoats, and because of that, they'll try to bring in regulations and they'll try to curb freedom of speech even more. So that's all whataboutism. Maybe hoga, to pata nahi, but yeah, that's how I think tin foil cap on, hat off, but that's how things happen in this country. And
And I think you have perfectly described law, laughter, and limits in the most perfect way. How do you see the future of comedy in India?
I think the future of comedy in India is good because we are going to now we will appreciate better content more because people will demand their comedians to be smarter. I I think that's the later stage. So if I think of it as three stages.
Okay.
Right now what has happened is it was deemed to happen. हो गया. Now we're gonna move on from the stage. There's an intermediary stage where comedy will change a little bit, where it'll come to ठीक है अब थोड़ा सा एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड भी लगेगा कॉमेडी में एंड इवेंचुअली विल रीच अ लेवल 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I don't know. I want to be alive at that time to be a pioneer, hopefully. that
I
where
hope you do.
people I hope I do, but I where people will appreciate intellectual smart comedy, and
Yes,
that
yes,
will
yes.
become mainstream comedy. All these Kapil Sharma show and all of these things will hopefully shut off, because what do there? They also body shame, they also make fun of fat people. You're a woman, haha, you do this stereotyping of any Bihari or any other person. That's what you do. Is that comedy? Who? And that's a family friendly show? No, it's not. If your family was educated, they would hate that show. See, so I think the mainstream audience of this country in the next 10 years, they will demand and they deserve more intellectual comedy.
That's so right, because I think now the people are being influenced, the influencers and the consumers. Yeah, it's your free choice whatever you want to consume, but I think we as consumers we have to work in tandem, like
Yeah,
what we consume.
yeah.
I think parents would be more stricter now nonetheless. So I think with this we'll go and jump to our last session, which is the rapid fire round. Are you
Okay,
ready for it?
sure.
Who do you think who is more dramatic, lawyers or judges?
Lawyers, of course.
Why?
Why I thought it was a rapid fire? Why? Because you have to be. The judges cannot show any emotion. They cannot show any bias, so they cannot be dramatic at all. And lawyers have to act out things. And so lawyers,
Okay.
and in personal lives also, I think lawyers are very, very dramatic.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. If contempt of court was a stand up set, what would be the opening line?
I'll tell you when I'm in jail for
Great.
contempt soon.
Your first stand up gig, did you kill it or you got legally murdered?
Not legally because there's nobody to see it, but my first
Oh
stand.
my god.
If you have no audience, then there is no case.
Great. Which Indian law feels like that it was written by a stand up comedian?
Which Indian law? All of them.
My
Like
god.
I think B.R.
I think
Ambedkar should have been a standing.
we both might have to go to jail after this.
Nahi, which there's a funny law. I'll tell you. There's a funny law.
Okay.
It's I don't know which act it is. It's Disaster Management Act or something, or
Okay.
Delhi local act. It says that in the in an event, if there is a what are tiddies called in English?
What?
Tiddy नहीं होती, tiddy दल type नहीं चीज नहीं होती. There's an insect called tiddy.
Grasshopper.
हाँ, dragonflies.
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 Okay.
So if
Okay.
there's a
Yeah.
locust, it's
Okay.
called locust. If
Locust.
there's a
Yes. Yes.
locust
Yes.
storm in Delhi,
Yes.
then all the citizens are bound to beat drums. That's a law. You can Google it straight up. So
Great. So, what is that one punchline for the Indian legal system if you had to?
don't punch, don't get punched, and if you do, don't come to court, because I would be killed by lawyers for saying that, because it's our business. But avoid courts as much as you can.
Okay. चलो थोड़ा सा एक इमोशनल पूछती हूँ.
Okay.
ठीक.
ठीक है.
आपकी लाइफ के 3 हाइज बताओ और 3 लोज बताओ, but in a comical way.
Comical way के तो पैसे लगते हैं मैम. But
After this, I'll...
3 highs, obviously, the best day of my life yet was when I performed in front of the judges, and I knew I had killed it. And as soon as I got off the stage, I went and just looked at myself in the mirror and like, what the fuck have you done? So that was that moment. There was this one moment when I was relaxing in Vietnam, and I knew that tomorrow I'm going back and life will be shitty again, but I should just embrace this moment inside the water. So yeah, it was a really high moment for me. And another high moment was, I think I cannot sum it up, because I think I have a lot of high moments now.
Okay.
Like another high moment was when the first time I smoked a joint. That was a high moment. But the low moments,
Okay.
low moment when I was betrayed by my partner. Like they did something to cheat on me, in the sense like they broke my trust. Then one low was when my father, he was abusive towards my mother, so I had to kick him out of the house. Another low was when I think when I realized that I might have a problem with alcohol.
The last part of the show is whatever the controversy is, whatever the climate, the political climate of the country right now is, we all are burning in fumes. People are burning in fumes. Ranveer Allabhadia controversy is actually a controversy that it has become. But something out of it to keep it decent and to give it a layer as well. For comedians, for lawyers, for consumers. Something that you can give as a message. As a lawyer and as a comedian, you stand at the best and the the perfect juncture. Something that may improve and change.
I would say that to everybody that be kind to yourselves, be chill about things, but at the same time, read better, know better, do better. I remember when you called me last year, I think, and you were so excited about all of this, and I'm proud of you to see you do what you want to do, and that's something I would want for anybody, that always do whatever you want to do in life, whatever makes you happy, and yeah,
Yeah. Thank you so much. If you like the video and if you like Manu Abhishek, please do subscribe to the channel and also follow his Instagram page.
thank you.
Thank you.